30 years of terror went unnoticed. At least, that's what it felt like to the people of South Central Los Angeles. A predator lurked in the shadows. He preyed on the vulnerable. His name was Lonnie Franklin Jr., but the world would come to know him as the Grim Sleeper. Franklin's reign of terror stretched from 1985 to 2007. He targeted women, often those caught in the throes of addiction or living on the fringes of society. He exploited their vulnerability, lured them into his web of darkness. And then he silenced them, forever. The Grim Sleeper earned his chilling moniker. He seemed to vanish for years at a time, only to resurface with renewed brutality. His crimes left a community reeling, grappling with the knowledge that a monster walked among them. The fear was palpable. It seeped into the very fabric of daily life. Mothers held their daughters a little tighter. Whispers of the Grim Sleeper filled the night, a constant reminder of the darkness hidden in plain sight. Lonnie Franklin Jr. was a phantom. He moved through the streets of South Central, leaving a trail of devastation in his wake. His victims, often overlooked and marginalized, became tragic footnotes in a story that seemed to have no end. He sought out women on the periphery. Drug addiction, poverty, and despair were his hunting grounds. He used their desperation against them, offering them a fleeting moment of solace before snuffing out their lives. His crimes were horrific, marked by a chilling brutality that sent shockwaves through the community and beyond. He didn't just kill, he dehumanized, leaving a trail of shattered lives and unanswered questions. The police were baffled. Leads ran cold. The Grim Sleeper seemed to melt away after each attack, leaving behind a community gripped by fear and a growing sense of despair. The shadow of the Grim Sleeper loomed large over South Central Los Angeles. It was a weight that pressed down on the community, suffocating hope and amplifying the vulnerability of its most vulnerable members. Mothers lived in a perpetual state of anxiety, fearful for the safety of their daughters. The streets, once vibrant with life, took on a sinister edge. The darkness held a new kind of menace, and every stranger was a potential threat. The police, despite their best efforts, seemed powerless to stop the killings. The lack of progress fueled a growing sense of frustration and anger. The community felt abandoned, left to fend for themselves against an invisible enemy. Trust eroded. Suspicion took root. The social fabric of South Central frayed under the strain of fear and uncertainty. The Grim Sleeper had not only taken lives, but he had also stolen the community's sense of security and peace. Lonnie Franklin Jr. was a master of deception. He blended into the background, a ghost in plain sight. His ability to evade capture for so long was as baffling as it was terrifying. How could someone commit such heinous acts and disappear without a trace? He knew the streets. He understood the patterns of law enforcement. He exploited the marginalized status of his victims. Knowing their disappearances were less likely to attract sustained attention, years turned into decades. The Grim Sleeper's reign of terror continued unabated. Each new victim brought fresh pain, but it also deepened the mystery surrounding his identity. Who was this monster preying on the innocent? The lack of answers fueled speculation and fear. The Grim Sleeper became a bogeyman, a chilling reminder of the darkness that could lurk beneath the surface of even the most ordinary lives. Section 5. DNA, the silent witness. As the years stretched on, hope began to dwindle. The Grim Sleeper seemed untouchable, his crimes destined to remain unsolved. But even in the darkest of times, a glimmer of hope emerged from an unexpected source: DNA. Forensic science was advancing rapidly. Investigators, clinging to any shred of evidence, began to revisit old cases, hoping for a breakthrough. They painstakingly collected DNA samples from crime scenes, preserving them with the knowledge that one day they might hold the key to unlocking the mystery. And then, a glimmer of hope. A partial DNA profile was developed from one of the Grim Sleeper's victims. It was a tantalizing lead, a whisper of a connection, but it was enough to reignite the investigation. The DNA profile was entered into the national database. The investigators waited, their hopes tempered by years of frustration. Would this be the break they had been waiting for, or would it be another dead end? Section 6. a trail gone cold, rekindled by a slice. In 2010, a discarded piece of pizza crust led to a stunning breakthrough. Lonnie Franklin Jr., ISS son, had been arrested on a weapons charge. His DNA was collected and entered into the database. The match to the grim sleeper case was undeniable. The news sent shockwaves through law enforcement and the community alike. The grim sleeper had a name, a face. He wasn't a ghost. He was a man who had lived among them, hiding in plain sight. Investigators placed Franklin under surveillance, meticulously piecing together his movements and searching for a direct link to the crimes. They discovered a chilling pattern of behavior, corroborating the DNA evidence and solidifying their case. The pizza crust, an innocuous piece of trash, had become a crucial piece of evidence, cracking open a case that had haunted Los Angeles for decades. It was a testament to the power of forensic science and the unwavering dedication of those determined to bring a killer to justice. Section 7. Justice long overdue. Lonnie Franklin Jr. was arrested and charged with 10 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. The weight of the evidence against him was overwhelming. The trial was a long and arduous process. The families of the victims packed the courtroom, seeking justice for their loved ones. Throughout the trial, Franklin maintained his innocence. He showed no remorse, his demeanor cold and detached. The prosecution presented a mountain of evidence, detailing the horrors of his crimes and the devastating impact on the victims' families. In 2016, a jury found Lonnie Franklin Jr. guilty on all counts. He was sentenced to death. The sentence brought a sense of closure to the families of the victims and to a community that had lived under the shadow of his crimes for far too long. However, the fight for justice was not over. Many believed that Lonnie Franklin Jr. was responsible for even more murders. The true extent of his crimes remained a haunting question mark. Section 8. Unanswered questions, unhealed wounds. The grim sleeper case, though seemingly resolved, left many unanswered questions in its wake. The authorities suspected Franklin's involvement in numerous other murders, but concrete evidence remained elusive. Why did he kill? What drove him to target these specific women? Was there a deeper motive behind his crimes, or was he driven by a twisted sense of power and control? The lack of answers gnawed at the families of the victims. They deserved to know the full truth, to understand why their loved ones had been taken from them. The grim sleeper's silence only amplified their pain and frustration. The case also exposed systemic failures within the criminal justice system. The fact that Franklin was able to operate for so long, preying on marginalized communities, raised serious questions about police procedures and the allocation of resources. Section 9. Lingering shadows, enduring hope. Lonnie Franklin Jr., the grim sleeper, died in prison in 2020. His death, while bringing a sense of finality, did little to ease the pain and trauma inflicted on so many lives. The scars of his crimes ran deep, a reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of society. The case serves as a stark reminder of the vulnerability of marginalized communities and the importance of addressing systemic inequalities within the criminal justice system. It highlights the need for increased resources, improved communication, and a renewed commitment to protecting the most vulnerable among us. Despite the lingering shadows of the grim sleeper case, there is hope. There is hope in the resilience of the human spirit, in the unwavering dedication of law enforcement, and in the belief that even the darkest secrets will eventually be brought to light.